I consider myself to be a planner, and I've worked with entrepreneurs for about the past 20 years. So I've worked on business plans, technology, commercialization plans, marketing plans, distribution plans, as I'm sure all of you have. And one thing I've learned from that is that when real life intervenes with an entrepreneur, those plans rarely go as planned. So you're continually assessing and reassessing and redefining the assistance that you're able to give them, and hopefully you can keep up with them. Like Laura said, my name is Robyn Russell. I serve as the Incubator Manager at Southern Illinois University, and I am also a certified Incubator Manager through NBIA. And I'm the one that manages the community outreach entrepreneurship programs there, such as the Small Business Development Center, the International Trade Center, the Technology Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center, as well as the SIU Center for Delta Studies. So even though we are university-based, we deal with about 500 clients in our surrounding region, which our region is pretty much defined as the southern 20 counties of Illinois. So we do have a rather large rural footprint. A lot of driving time there. It takes a while to get to most of our clients. So we recently have had a few things to hang our hat on in light of all the other negative Illinois things that we've been dealing with. We are located in Carbondale, which is about a 5.5-hour drive from here, and it should also be about a 5.5-hour train ride, but yesterday it was 7.5 or so. But still, I got here, and I got to do the Lagunitas tour when I got here, so that worked out well. Like I said, we're like the hub in Carbondale, sort of the Carbondale-Marion area of roughly 20 counties, and we serve all that area. And Wallet Hub named us this year as one of the best small U.S. cities to start a business. We were number 2 on that list, and we scored highest primarily to get us that ranking because of the excellent access to resources that clients and entrepreneurs have in our region. So we were very proud of that. We do work very closely with the City of Carbondale and multiple other economic development organizations to make sure that people have all the resources they need to help start a business. So we are under the Incubator is under the umbrella of the Office of Economic and Regional Development with SIU, and our mission is to foster innovation, advance entrepreneurship, and develop the economy throughout Southern Illinois. So this is the layout of our building where OERD lives. We're called the Dunn-Richmond Economic Development Center. We were the SIU Research Park's flagship building. In 1989, when our building opened, it was merely called the Incubator before it was named for 2 Illinois legislators later on. And anybody over the age of 40 still calls it the Incubator. So when I say the Dunn-Richmond Economic Development Center, they're like, what? So I say the Incubator, and they're like, oh yeah, the Incubator. So the Incubator now is a program within the Dunn-Richmond Center. Our building is 55,000 square feet, and we call it a mixed-use facility. It combines university offices, a few community development, loan program, and entrepreneurial development offices, as well as the downstate office for the State of Illinois Capital Development Board. Like I said earlier, some of the programs we have include the SBDC-ITC Center for Innovation, the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center, and our new Entrepreneur in Residence program. And as Karen mentioned, she just came down for her first presentation with us. And we also work closely with faculty researchers who are wanting to commercialize, as well as our system office Tech Transfer, which is now in Springfield. And we have a fairly new maker space that we work with clients. We have 3 3D printers, and we work with clients free of charge on helping them develop prototypes. And we do have one person trained in our office on CAD and to help with those designs, as well as we have 2 students from mechanical engineering that help with that as well. So they've been a big help. So the Dunn Richmond Center is located within the research park, which you'll see as I'm telling you all these names. We have a huge identity crisis, and I wish we would just name it some fun, exciting name, but it is confusing. But we've tried to rebrand and do strategic planning and marketing planning, and we've finally just decided just let the name stay, and let's just market that if you need any help with a business or entrepreneurial assistance or anything in that category, just get them in our front door, and once they're in the front door, we'll tell them what they need to do to get help. So originally this was plotted as a 40-acre plot back in the 80s, and then now there are 3 buildings on that plot for an eventual 10-building plan. So like I said, our building was the flagship building, opened in 1989, and in 2005 we opened One Enterprise Place, which is on the top right. And this building has multiple suites for growing businesses and for research companies. That's the place where often the Incubator graduates go to when they leave our building. And then One Innovation Place, which was opened in 2012, is a public-private partnership with facilities ranging from 1,000 to 4,000 square feet. So these 2 buildings house graduates as well as commercial lease companies. One Enterprise Place houses about 50 employees, and One Innovation houses about 24 employees. So our actual small business incubator program has 4 types of incubation to it. We have an affiliate program, the Saluki Innovation R&D Lab, and those are both shared spaces, as well as the Saluki Venture Student Incubator Program, and then our traditional incubator program, which consists of office space, wet lab space, and light industrial manufacturing space. Our suggested time of incubation is about 36 months, and we like to work closely with those companies in that 36-month period so that they grow and they can graduate out to a commercial lease space. As you know, not all of those companies grow and are able to graduate, but we're happy for the ones that do. Because we have a small business development center in our facility, we found years ago the easiest thing to do is when we get those people in the front door, they can meet with the small business development center counselor who will do an initial business assessment with them, and then that counselor knows exactly whom in the building to refer them to get the special assistance that they need. So that's worked really well. Overall, through our small business development center, enrolling all those people as clients, we usually see between 350 and 550 clients a year, just depending on the client flow. We also have one accelerator program. I believe someone else mentioned ours is similar to that, where we invite 12 faculty members in wanting to commercialize their product or invention. It's a 12-week program. It's called Operation Mousetrap. And then the successful graduates who are actually able to start a business after that, we offer them some free rental space for a period of 3 to 6 months. So our first program is our affiliate incubator program. It's basically a big room. As you can see there on the left, we have some desks and chairs in there, and that's pretty much it. They can come into a shared space. They can bring their laptop, have a meeting, do some work there. I found that clients don't usually spend very much time here. They're basically renting this space so they have an official business address and they can get business cards and start forming their legal entity and that kind of thing. So these people are usually pre-venture, just trying to get started. And then we work with them to try to get them into the regular tenant incubator program.
About how many companies can you co-locate? We have like 20 in one room because they're so rarely there.
Right.
In some cases, I'm curious for others that run these types of sort of shared spaces where there aren't
Right now we
dedicated
have
offices what you expect.
We have 4 that rent that space, and like you said, they're hardly ever there. That room probably has space for 8 to 10. I can't imagine it being that full, but most people that come into the traditional incubator program. But we've always said if that room gets full and there's a lot of use in there, that we'll carve out another space where we can put more people shared. We have our Saluki Innovation Lab. This was jointly funded through the USDA Rural Development, the Delta Regional Authority, and the SMU Incubator Program. And what it is a shared equipment lab where researchers can come in and use our equipment that was purchased through these grants for projects or ongoing research. And typically using the equipment that a small startup company wouldn't be able to purchase and have in their own office. So they sort of timeshare the equipment. A few companies do use the same pieces of equipment. They have a schedule where constant access to some of that equipment. We will rent them a part of that. I believe that room is 1,200 square feet, so we'll rent them like 300 or 400 square feet for them to do what they want to do. People usually rent there for between a month to a 6-month period. We recently had a startup company called Advanced Herbal Analytics, and they were an approved, state of Illinois approved medical marijuana testing facility. So they rented a portion of this lab to get started before they moved into their own wet lab space, which was very interesting to sell to our committee. And we had meetings with Campus Police.
Looking over at Bruce from UIS to tell you that our president already said no medical marijuana allowed at any of the university locations.
Wow. Really?
Yes. You're a different president, you get to
Interesting. Saluki Ventures is our student innovation project. It's under what we call our Center for Innovation series, and we do programming. We have a registered student organization called Saluki Entrepreneurship Corps. We have a chapter of the Collegiate CEO program that was mentioned earlier, and we also manage a group of 8 counties in the southern part of Illinois that are in the Midland Institute High School CEO program. And we provide the venue in our conference rooms for their annual joint trade show where all those counties come together with each of their students that have started their own business. And we give them each a booth at a trade show, and they set up, and we invite the public in, and have a couple thousand people come through that night. Some of them have products to sell, some of them are service businesses, so some of it's just talking and exploring, and some of it's actually buying different products that the students have there for sale. I recently was lucky enough to travel out to Harvard, where I went to the Harvard Innovation Center and then the Cambridge Innovation Center. I'm eagerly trying to introduce some of those things into our different programs in our building. I have yet to talk my boss into the 24/7 open bar space where you can work in there all day long as you get your work done concept. So kind of like you guys with the medical marijuana.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that it would seem to me that one of the great opportunities of this group is the opportunity to be aware of how to maybe do some cross-pollination where you might have some startups or small businesses that may be able to connect with opportunities in the areas that we represent. For example, I'm paying a lot of attention to renewable energy and clean tech. There are some opportunities that are being created by new legislation in Illinois that will give some new opportunities in this area. And I'd love to know what type of firms are existing already in some of these areas that may take advantage of some opportunities that I know about, and I know, again, others know about these same things. Is there any, do you have any place where there is a directory of some of the firms that are in your space and some of the areas that they're involved in, or
Yes.
are you paying attention to any industry-specific activities or vertical market activities in your incubator accelerator?
We're not not necessarily paying attention to any of those or trying to attract any of those. In terms of the incubator space specifically, you know, it kind of depends on what spaces we have open at any time, whether it's office or industrial space or wet lab space that they need. It is very expensive at our university to do any build-to-suit requests, and those requests are usually at the expense of the entrepreneur. So pretty much when they come in, they, you know, get what is there plus what they bring in. But we do have a listing on our website of all our clients that allow us to disclose. Some don't. You know, if they tell us they'll have to kill us kind of thing. We know what they're doing, so I'm not sure why it's not okay to make it public, but if they don't want it listed on there, we don't put them on there. But it's researchpark.siu.edu if you want to see a listing of our tenants on there.
Well, we thought we would,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Marissa was going to say the same thing,
Yeah.
maybe aggregating on the new incubator website, that if anybody has an incubator and we can do a category of sector, that will create a place where you can search all of the university incubators in one stop, based
Yeah.
off of their existing directories. We'll have to figure it out a little bit technologically to keep updated, since they change all the time.
Yeah, maybe some
ISTC publishes the report
Absolutely.
again, but it
Type
doesn't tell you the names of any of the companies.
Right, being able to tag some keywords, so if there is a vertical that you're interested in or focusing on, it might be a way for us to connect other startups across the state to be able to connect with each other or organize and communicate in a different way.
That's a good idea.
That is something that we will eventually get to. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have the website up and running, and then we'll invite all of you to upload your tenants or your shining stars or companies. And again, that would be an opportunity for everyone to help get the word out.
We'll try to automate so
Great.
that they don't have to do work if I can avoid it.
So far, in our traditional incubator,
Process
Mhm.
for their.
they have to fill out an application and provide us with a business plan. If they don't have that, they can work with our SBDC on that. And then a tenancy committee meeting is scheduled, and they do about a 10-minute pitch to that committee, followed by a Q&A, and then the committee meets and decides, you know, if they can be allowed in or not. For the scientists and the people with chemicals, it's a bit more intense than that, because they have to work through our Center for Environmental Safety, have a chemical plan as well as an environmental waste removal plan. So that takes a little bit longer, but that's one more element to it. Yeah.
Just a quick question. I see that you have some graduates. So is your incubator accessible to alumni as well, or just when you graduate, you can stay on for a couple of months until after your graduation date, or how do you deal with current students and then alumni?
Graduates in that case means graduates from the incubator,
Oh, okay.
not from the college.
Okay.
But anyone can apply. We service university as well as community members, so anyone can apply and come into our incubator program. So here to date, we've written 121 leases. We've had 60 graduates. So about half of the people that have incubated have graduated and gone on to do, you know, something bigger. 3 of our graduates have moved into our second building and 2 into our first building, which you know, is a part of our plan as well, so we're happy for that. And then 1 graduate we lost to the Research Park Triangle, but I'll tell you a little bit about that later. Currently,
I have a question also.
Yeah.
Are some of your firms, when you say graduating, does that mean that they're at some point of revenue generation? And if they are revenue generating, have you determined that the revenue is coming primarily from the regional or in-state versus out-of-state customers?
no, we haven't determined that. We usually work with them and try to encourage them to work with the consultants in the building as much as they can, as well as we pair them with outside consultants to help them grow and expand and get to the point where they can graduate. Now, if we're at 36 months and they're still growing and we know they're not able to go out and pay commercial lease and that type of thing, you know, we'll let them stay a little longer. You know, some point where, we feel like the revenue is so that they can support themselves when we push them out of the incubator. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I talked to Marissa about highlighting some clients and just how, things change, and back to the planning about how you can work with them, and then what necessarily happens in the end or doesn't necessarily, be what they started out for it to be. Most people look for the path of least resistance, but I find that entrepreneurs look for the path of greatest resistance, and that's often what makes them successful, because they don't fear failure. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of these companies that we have, and these companies are in different types of spaces in our incubator. So the first one's a mouthful, Saffron Scientific Histology Services. Maureen Duran, the principal of this company, was the histology lab director on campus for 30 years, was very happy to retire from the university, wanted to travel, see her grandkids, do lots of stuff for herself that she really didn't have time to do. She really was a workaholic during then. She made it at home about 3 months before she formed a partnership with 2 other women on campus that were scientists as well, and they started this new company. They've leased one of our wet labs, and they do dissection, make slides, fix slides, process them, take digital photography of them, and then send them back to the person that sent the tissue to them to begin with. So they're constantly looking for new clients. One of the things we're doing in our entrepreneurship and residence program is trying to bring consultants to our clients that need different kinds of help. It's not just generic. They can't just work with our local marketing agency to market their product because they are so unique and different and scientific. So we have a specialized niche marketing consultant working with them who works on scientific marketing. So they're working on developing a client list and distribution channels and just trying to get the word out that they're there. Our next client is an SIU alum, Kurt Jones, who is famous for, in our chemistry lab when he was in school, inventing the process by which Dippin' Dots were made. Kurt was transitioning out of Dippin' Dots. His parents are elderly and are in Grand Chain, Illinois, which is a very southern area of Illinois, if you're familiar with that. So he was transitioning back, and he didn't make it long either without doing something. Kurt is a turbocharged serial entrepreneur. He's had so many companies, I probably couldn't list them all. But his new company is called Beaded Distribution, and what he's doing is working on other types of food production and drink production that are still based on that original technology of his. So if you've had the Dippin' Dots before, basically you take in Dippin' Dots case, the milky substance that makes ice cream, and then you add nitrogen to it, which turns it into these hard little frozen dots. They were widely distributed. They started in theme parks and then went international, and through several international patent infringements, that became an issue for their company, and now there are a lot of different knockoffs to this product too. So at that point, Kurt was ready to move on. So now he's come into our building, and he's leased an industrial light manufacturing space. That was about a year ago, and since then he's now leased 2 more of our 1,050 square foot industrial light manufacturing spaces. He has them full of freezers, nitrogen, working with all different kinds of, I can go in there on any given day and he's got pomegranate juice or different flavors of creamer. But his new product he's going to come out with first is a coffee product, and it's called 40 Below Joe, which his products are called ultra low frozen because they're frozen at 40 degrees below zero. So this product will come in different flavors. Some are combined with cream, as you can see on the green bag there. It's house blend plus hazelnut creamer, and you can eat them frozen straight out of the bag, just like you would Dippin' Dots, or you can add hot water to them, and you've got like an instant cup of coffee with your creamer and your coffee in it. So sort of several different ways he's promoting that product, and he's just getting ready to release the first batch of this and go to market with a pilot study in our region. He maintained, he's in charge of the franchises for Dippin' Dots since he has left Dippin' Dots. So he has Dippin' Dots in 1,200 convenience stores, so he's going to start slow on that first pilot study and then see how that goes and branch those out. And Kurt is a good example of a company that came in and has used so many different students at the various stages of him developing this new company and this new product. So his 3 huge industrial spaces are constantly filled with students from all these different areas who are helping him. He's done this process several times with multiple companies, so he's just looking for the right students to help him, and then they're helping carry out the business. And then our last one, and this is the one that got away that I wish would have stayed. Ben Weinberger was an SIU student in radio and TV in 1998, and he and his roommate started a business called Digital Smiths. They came to the SBDC in 2000 and asked for help with a business plan, and that coincided with the time I started. I was hired, and Ross Miller and I have worked together in the SBDCs over the years a lot. I started as what was called an e-business specialist, and that was like when everybody was like, what's e-business? I don't even know. So we wrote some workbooks to try to help clients go through the web development and design process when they're meeting with a web developer and that type of thing. Just things that entrepreneurs didn't know when they were looking for outside sourcing to develop a website or any type of technology. So their main business focus was just web development. They were just 2 college kids who wanted to be web developers. They had a little bit of money invested in their computer equipment. Didn't require really much capital to start, just needed basically a roadmap. And one of the first websites they built was for our SBDC. We had received what was called an Entrepreneur Challenge grant or something like that to help showcase our businesses. So they built this really cool website, which at the time a lot of our businesses didn't have their own website. So this gave businesses a web presence. So it was called Small Business Stars, and as you can see, we asked businesses if they wanted us to help market their business, and we had a 1-page form that they filled out for us, gave back to us. We did all the entry, a photo if they had it, and then we categorized them, and they were pulled up by keywords and that type of thing. So that was a really cool thing for us to do at that time. And it was really for dirt cheap at the time because they were, just young and growing. So while they moved into the incubator, they needed to go outside of their dorm. When they started getting bigger, they needed a place to meet with clients. So they applied and came into the incubator. That was in 2001. And once in the incubator, the original partnership kind of fell apart, and Ben was connected with Matt Berry, who ran another incubator company called Shortgrass Technologies, which was also a student-started business that made GPS systems for golf carts. I don't know if any of you have seen those, but he was like the original maker of those. So these 2 got together and developed more software. and started on this software platform that's called Intelligent Software, and it searches through video, and it can recognize not only the scripted things or the keyword things or the audio, but it can recognize things such as furniture, location, a cell phone, a soda can, etc. And what they started doing was inventorying all this and archiving it so that companies who were placing ads on TV and movie theaters and that kind of thing could easily connect to those things. So like if there was a soda can, they would do a Coke commercial, or if there was any product placement that they could do it. If the movie took place in Chicago, they could do some Visit Chicago type ads or something like that. And as they went on, that type of information became very helpful to companies. And he was doing really well on that, and then through a twist of fate, his longtime girlfriend, who is now his wife, found it necessary to relocate to North Carolina, which we hated to lose him. And of course, when he took one look at the Research Park Triangle, he knew that was the place for him to be. And he received a round of bridge funding from an angel investor, and that was followed on by a $6 million VC investment, and they immediately blew up. Ben moved his crew into a new 9,000 square foot building, and the development went into turbo mode. They've issued many different intelligent software platforms now, and his original platform is now referred to as the Google of video ads. So, long story long, the end of that is in 2014, Ben was offered $135 million from TiVo to sell his intellectual property. So he did that. And he has now moved on to become the Senior Vice President and Chief Product Officer at Sling TV, which is one of those new customized TV things that now everybody, I think, is getting, where you just watch the TV you want to watch and you don't have to pay for subscription TV. Ben's on the SIU University Alumni Association, and he still comes to Carbondale all the time. And he's a great client to have because he doesn't come to Carbondale or speak anywhere or provide an interview where he doesn't say that he could not have started without the services provided to him at the SIU Incubator. So it's always good to have those clients out there that say that. And that's it.
Thank you, Robyn.
Any questions?